Hi, my name is Stephen McGee and I'm the author of Solar Radiation, Global Warming and Human Disease. And we're here to talk about radiation. And radiation is the subject of this book and has a chapter in it called Radio Wave Sickness. And we're going to talk about radio wave sickness because that's what the utilities appear to be doing in Tucson, Arizona. And I'm very, very concerned at what the utilities are up to. So we're going to talk about the radiation transmitting meters that they're installing on all the homes here in Tucson, Arizona. I'm going to start with this article. So this is from the International Agency for Research on Cancer and the World Health Organization. And if you read that first line, it says IARC classifies radio frequency electromagnetic fields as possibly carcinogenic to humans. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a possibly carcinogenic substance that is actually being installed on all the homes in Tucson, Arizona. So that's the background to what's going on. So these meters, they're commonly called smart meters, but it's actually a class of meters. It's much more comprehensive than the smart meter. The smart meter is a brand of meter that is made to integrate with appliances. And what's actually installed in Tucson doesn't appear to be smart meters. They're actually very, very similar, but they're actually automatic meter readers. And they appear to have two-way communication on some of them. So they're both transmitters and receivers. Some of them can only transmit, but others can actually receive. Depends on the one that's on your house. As you can see, people started to realize that these are toxic, and even the Australians, they're saying that these meters are toxic. So it's not just the Americans. And this is an American poster. It comes from electrosmogprevention.org. And there you go, stop electrosmog with a utility meter. Danger, microwave radiations. And they're right. Microwave radiation is a known toxin to the human. So I'm going to talk about what's on my house. So this is the problem. This is my problematic meter, which I'm trying to get rid of. It looks just like that. You would never think there was a transmitter in there, but right behind those analog dials there's a bunch of electronics and a battery. And it transmits, and it's actually very high powered. So a wireless network, for comparison, broadcasts at about 0.1 watt. Well, this one is broadcasting at half a watt. So it's 5 times the power of your wireless network that it's broadcasting at. And not only is it broadcasting at half a watt, it's half a watt of pulsed microwave radiation. And half a watt of pulsed microwave radiation can actually be quite toxic. So there's a lot of people getting sick around Wi-Fi routers and Wi-Fi enabled computers. I was one of those people. I didn't realize it for years as to what was making me sick, but I eventually figured it out that it was exposure to a lot of wireless radiation fields, including Wi-Fi. So we're talking about something that's 5 times more powerful than Wi-Fi and uses the most toxic form of broadcast, which is pulsed microwave transmission. So again, this is talking about the actual module that I have on my home. And as you see, it actually says it has two-way communications. They call it AMI technology. So it actually appears to be able to transmit and receive. And it appears to have a variable power level depending on what it's going to do. So there's actually some laws that apply to this, and they're actually called the right to life laws. So you actually, in Western countries, have the right to life. And people don't have the right to subject you to known carcinogens, even possibly carcinogenic items. So if you're having an issue with the utility putting these possibly carcinogenic devices on your property, you probably should get familiar with the right to life laws. And the other laws you want to be familiar with are these, the OSHA laws, because these devices are actually installed at your workplace in general. You know, if you got gas and electric meters where you work, well, you're getting subjected to the pulsed microwave radiation coming off them. And you actually have the right, under OSHA laws, to identify workplace hazards and notify your employer and have those hazards removed. And there's no shortage of information today saying that these meters are actually hazardous. So that's OSHA, that's the law. So let's get down to the letter that I've actually sent to Southwest Gas. So it says, "Dear Brian, during January 2013, I noticed that I started to get significantly fatigued at my home. This is the top reported symptom of radio wave sickness. As such, I took a look at the utility meters and noticed a shiny new gas automatic meter reading unit had been installed with an Itron 100G battery-powered transmitting device. I have tested this meter several times, and each time I test it, it is emitting a pulse of radiation every several seconds. No radiation pulses were detectable from the previous gas meter, and I assume this is why you replaced it. The new meter appears to be continuously emitting these radiation pulses. This is concerning, as pulsed radiation is known to be the most biologically harmful form of radiation transmission. It is so harmful that the military weaponized it. Moving away from the gas meters has reduced the severity of the fatigue, so it is clearly coming from your Itron 100G meters. Note that the electrical utility has removed the AMR meters quite some time ago from both my property and the neighbouring property to the north. As such, it is clear that Southwest Gas have rendered much of my home into a no-go zone where I cannot spend extended periods of time. You are clearly affecting my health and ruining the ability for my family to enjoy our home. This is clearly a form of willful biological assault that Southwest Gas is engaging in. Longer term, you have installed a device at my home that is listed as a possible carcinogen by the World Health Organization, which means you are willfully increasing my family's risks of developing cancer. I do not have any wireless devices in service at my home that continually transmit like your devices. I found that they were deforming and retarding plants both inside and outside of the home. Outside of the home, there were radiation hotspots where the plants would die when placed there. I want to make it clear that this letter is not a request. It is a clear instruction to you to remove your biologically harmful transmitting devices from the area around my home. The sickness that these devices cause is well documented today, and a search on the internet for smart meter sickness yields many people who are reporting problems around such utility transmitting devices. Two of the many websites that document the biological harm that is being done to many people are emfsafetynetwork.org and stopsmartmeters.org. These are just two of the numerous websites that are documenting this toxic epidemic that the USA utilities are unleashing onto an unsuspecting mass population. I would like to bring it to your attention that I legally have the right to stop this biological interference that you are creating at my home. Part 15 of the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, rules give me this right. Here is Part 15.5, B and C for your reference. 15.5, General Conditions of Operation. B, operation of an intentional, unintentional, or incidental radiator is subject to the conditions that no harmful interference is caused. C, the operator of a radio frequency device shall be required to cease operating the device upon notification by a commission representative that the device is causing harmful interference. Operation shall not resume until the condition causing the harmful interference has been corrected. I am notifying you for the second time that you need to remove these harmful biological radiation interference devices from both my property and the property to the north, which has a Southwest Gas AMR meter just 15 feet away. Please ensure that they are removed by the end of March 2013. The installation of the continually transmitting Itron 100G pulsed radiation AMR meter has now given me the evidence that you are damaging my biological health. As such, I will be needing to see the work that Southwest Gas performed to ensure that their customers were not harmed by these AMR radiation transmitting devices. This is called due diligence. I will need copies of all biological testing that Southwest Gas performed to ensure that biological damage to their customers did not occur from biologically harmful pulsed radiation transmissions from the AMR gas meters. This will include all testing that was performed in conjunction with the electrical utility and the water utility, as all three companies use transmitting AMR meters in Tucson. It is likely that 3 of these devices in close proximity to each home in Tucson will be far more toxic than a single device. I look forward to receiving this information by the end of March 2013. Failure to supply the requested biological testing information will result in the assumption that you did not perform any biological testing of your radiation-producing devices. I extensively researched the area of radiation and have published many books on the subject. You'll find my latest research on the biological toxicity of wireless radiation in the book Solar Radiation, Global Warming, and Human Disease, which is available through Amazon.com. I would like to remind you that you were formally notified in August 2012 that you do not have permission to have transmitting devices at my property due to the known health risks that they create. I look forward to receiving the requested information and to the removal of your biologically harmful radiation-producing AMR meters. Yours sincerely, Stephen McGee. C-Eng, M-I-E-T, B-Eng, ONS. So that was the letter, and this is the relevant chapter in the book. So it's right there, radio wave sickness. And it talks about the problems regarding radio wave sickness. So there's plenty of evidence regarding radio wave sickness today, and there's many people who are walking around with radio wave sickness, and they're not aware of it because they don't realize that these devices are actually biologically toxic, and you actually may be one of these people. So I would recommend that you get familiar with the symptoms of radio wave sickness, and also what the utilities are strapping onto the side of your home, particularly if you live in Tucson, Arizona. So that's the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to find out more information on the subject, you'll find it in this book, Solar Radiation, Global Warming, and Human Disease. Thank you.